So what's happening right now with LGBTQ rights, it's not random at all, and it's not just culture war noise. It's the result of a very specific ideology being turned into policy, and the consequences are already real. Over the last few days, we've seen federal actions in court cases that all move in the same direction. They reduce protections for LGBTQ people, especially trans people, by, redefining identity, limiting healthcare access, and stripping privacy protections away, particularly for kids and workers. But the whole core of the issue is this: the government is increasingly deciding that gender identity is not real, not protected, and not worthy of privacy. Once the state does that, guys, everything downstream changes. Healthcare becomes conditional, employment protections weaken, schools become surveillance spaces instead of safe spaces, and this doesn't happen in a vacuum. This framework comes directly from Christian nationalist ideology. Not Christianity as a personal faith, not individual belief, but a political movement that believes the government should enforce a narrow religious definition of gender, family, and morality. When the state defines sex as immutable and binary, that is not neutral science, guys. It is a theological position being written into law. And when schools are forced to disclose a child's gender identity regardless of safety or home environment, that is not about parental rights. It is just about control once again. When healthcare for trans youth is restricted through funding mechanisms instead of outright bans, that's not compromise at all. It's just coercion. The real world consequences are not theoretical. Trans kids lose access to doctors they trust. Families are forced to choose between medical care and financial survival. Federal employees are told that their identity is no longer recognized by their own workplaces. Students lose privacy at the exact moment that they are most vulnerable. This is how harm works in policy. It doesn't start with mass arrests or dramatic headlines. It starts with definitions. It starts with paperwork. It starts with who is deemed legitimate and who is not. And if this sounds familiar, it fucking should, because the same exact logic has been used against immigrants, against religious minorities, against gay people in the past decades. Define a group as abnormal or dangerous, claim moral authority, and then use the state to enforce compliance. That's why this matters even if you are not LGBTQ, because once the government decides that one group's identity is invalid, well, everyone's rights become conditional now, don't they? Privacy stops being a right and becomes a privilege. Healthcare stops being about medicine and becomes more about an ideology. Freedom of belief only applies if you believe the right thing. This has never been about protecting the children. It is not about safety. It is about enforcing a single worldview through law. You can be religious and oppose this. You can be Christian and oppose this. Many do. But when Christianity is weaponized by the state, it stops being about